Welcome back to the shop, it's good to see you again. I've built a new shed. So this was a shed that was never meant to be. I had originally applied for planning permission to put a garage at the front of the house. And I thought, if I'm going to make a garage, if I make it another metre and a half longer, I'll have enough space in there to put the lawn hoover, the hedge trimmer, I've got a little rotavator that I keep for the moment, and you know, all the paraphernalia that you need to look after your garden. And I thought that'd be ideal, I'll do that. However, the planning authority here in Norfolk have, in my particular planning authority, have adopted a new framework for design, and garages that are not part of the property or are in front of the property are not really allowed. So I can't do that. So hence, I had to build another shed round the back here because I don't have anywhere else to keep my lawn hoover, etc. So let's get on with it. There you go, concrete tamper. It's just a cast iron plate and a handle. I call this the torture tamper for a good reason. After half an hour of this, you certainly know you used it. This tamper turned out to be a really good way to survey the hardcore in these foundations. Using it as a guide stick in all the corners was really good. Right, so the laser level is there. There's my mark. So I need to bring this up by about an inch. I found it easiest to get the corners level, then fill in the gaps between the two. Level to within 3mm. Good enough for me. This area bears an explanation. I'm going to build a wall. When finished, it'll form the basis of a tank for a water feature in front of the greenhouse. Having levelled the hardcore, it's time to make a form for the concrete, and I needed to rip these boards down. I also needed to make some pegs, and I came up with a solution here for cutting some points on them. Not great, you could lose your thumb really easily with that, but I was careful, still got two. Actually, I'm from Norfolk 3. Yep. I think I have to put a lot more stakes in. This one is pretty crappy. $100mm, spot on. I need some more pegs that way, so I'll just make some of those and put them in off camera. Having finished the wall foundations, it's time to move on to the new shed base. When I was thinking about the base to use for this shed, I had lots of ideas. I looked at ground spikes, I looked at a wood lattice frame, I even looked at putting paver slabs down and building it on top of that, a gravel bed and a concrete bed, and in the end I thought a blockwork wall will cover the damp-proof membrane so it'll be completely invisible once the shed is complete, and it won't rot either because there's no exposure to the UV from the sun. There are lots and lots of roots under this bit of ground, so it was quite a tricky thing to do, and it was hard work digging the foundations out, and even harder putting this blasted concrete in. It would have been far quicker and probably a similar price to get a concrete lorry in and have delivered all the cement and concrete I needed for these foundations. But when you're working by yourself, you've only got a limited amount of time to get it off the truck, so inevitably you end up doing the whole thing by hand, and there's 20 or 30 barrow loads in each of these foundations. I did it over 2 days, and I was thoroughly exhausted by the time I did finish. Slept well anyway. For the shed base, I used these plastic fibres. You mix them with the concrete and they bind it all together. I've used them in the big workshop that you can see in the background there, and I've got lots of tree roots and trees around where this little shed is going to go, so I wanted to resist the roots from lifting it up and cracking the base. Hopefully it'll be okay, but time will tell really. I got into a bit of a rhythm with mixing the concrete. I'd empty a batch into the wheelbarrow, get a new batch running in the cement mixer, and then while that was going on, take the wheelbarrow down and empty it, get it all levelled. Then by the time I got back, I was ready to have another load. You can just see the little plastic fibres in this batch of concrete. Oddly enough, I find smoothing this stuff out is quite therapeutic, but I am from Norfolk. It's to be expected, really. Up to now, I was thinking everything was going really, really well, but things were not going to end that way. It's been a couple of days, and this concrete pad footings is setting nicely. That's absolutely fine. However, I've got problems. That shed base isn't square. This should be parallel to that, and it's not. So here's the thing. Doesn't matter too much if the back edges are out of square, because you won't see them. They'll be underground slightly. But the front here is important, because that will be either a landing or a step, and that being unsquare is going to be bloody obvious. So I think I'll make some measurements, put it into CAD, and see whether or not I've got enough footings to build the blockwork wall. So bear with me, I'll get on with that. So I did some measurements, and I put it all into CAD, and then drew out the foundations as they should be, and worked out what extra I needed to do. And I thought, I'm not convinced about this. So I popped back outside with some tape measures and my square, and I think I have just got enough room to get the blocks on the foundation ring. Not perfect by any stretch, and I'm going to have to do some work at what will be the front of the shed in order to make, I think I'm going to have a landing area, and there's a reason for that. If you get your lawn hoover out or your cement mixer or whatever, but you don't want that, you want something that's behind it, then be able to wheel something out and stand it on a little bit of path in front of your shed, then gives you access to pull out what you actually need, rather than taking everything all the way down the back side of the workshop here. So I think I've come up with a solution, and I believe, if I get this right, none of this bad foundation will be seen at all. It will all be at least 50 mm, 2 inches underground. So yeah, I think I don't need to lay any more concrete at the moment, which suits me fine. Bloody hard work. Better go and find out what's wrong with that. There's a big horrible knot in my string line. I'm not untangling that. I'll just go get another one. Sod it. Right, new string line. Start again. After 20 odd minutes or so, I have managed to get these blocks completely square. I just need to chalk line this last edge and we're done. Now for some Mortar. After lunch, I think. Yeah, definitely after lunch. I bought a special tape measure that measures bricks and blocks, and I have to say it's been a bit of a game changer for me. My block laying is now to the point where it's just almost just appalling, so it's improved tremendously. I always think squareness is optional. Having laid these blocks, I look back at it now and a few weeks down the road after doing this, and I think, do you know what? That was actually quite an interesting thing to do, and I really enjoyed it, to be perfectly honest. I'm very, very, very slow, but I made a reasonable job, to be perfectly honest. It's for a rank amateur who's only ever laid blocks once before for my water harvesting tank. I was really quite pleased with the result. It looks all right, to be honest. It's a shame about the foundation ring underneath, but hey, these things are the way they are. And this was the very last block. Excellent. I had a little mini dig around several months ago, and while it was in the garden, I buried these two ducts. They go to my summer house, and from the summer house they go to the water harvesting tank, and from the water harvesting tank they go to my big workshop, and from the big workshop they go to the house. So I've got ducts everywhere. I had some old pavers to get rid of, so that's what you see in the bottom of the hole. They're all crushed up pavers. And this I'm putting in now is called Type 1, Ministry of Transport Type 1, or what we would call hardcore in the old days. It then gets flattened with a torture tamper. That's hard work, that thing. After 10 minutes of that, you feel that you want to go and sit down and have a cup of tea. I've got about 50mm of broken up paving slab, then about 75mm or so of Type 1 MOT, hardcore as it used to be known, and I've been over it twice with the torture tamper. No, 3 times with the torture tamper, so it's now all nice and flat and hammered in. Next up is about 15-20mm of sharp sand, so I'll get on with that. So as you can see, I've laid out the damp-proof membrane, and it's time now to put in the concrete. This concrete doesn't actually have any fibres in it. I didn't think I needed them for this, and to be perfectly honest, I'd run out anyway. So necessity. A rare appearance from my wife, although she is incognito. So thanks for watching. Please hit a like and subscribe, and if you feel inclined, a hype. A hype actually works quite well for a little tiny channel like mine. It does help these videos get out to a bigger audience. Having completed the shed base, I've had a delivery. I think this is, if I remember rightly, 25 square metres of glass fibre. So I've got 6 sheet of 18mm OSB and 10 sheets of 10mm OSB, batten strip, and right down at the bottom is the framing timber. Thanks once again, and join me next time when we turn that pile of wood into this lovely new shed. Ta-da!